In today's world, stress feels normal. You wake up tired, your phone is already buzzing, you're late for work, stuck in traffic, your heart is beating fast, you feel tense, angry, and overwhelmed. But what if stress isn't the enemy? In Buddhist monasteries, monks didn't run away from discomfort. They used it to grow. One young monk walked for hours in heavy rain, soaked, cold, and tired. When he arrived, his master asked, "How was the journey?" The monk smiled and said, "I found peace inside the storm." That may sound strange, but it holds a powerful truth. Stress can be your teacher. It can show you where you need to let go, where you can become stronger, and how to find calm in the chaos. So here's the question. What if every stressful moment in your life was actually a hidden opportunity? Let's explore how Buddhist wisdom and modern science can help us turn stress into strength. Why this matters, let's face it, stress is everywhere. You wake up tired, your phone lights up with emails, deadlines are chasing you, bills, traffic, pressure, and all the while your mind is racing with one question: how do I keep up? Most people think stress is the enemy, something to run from, something to push down with distractions, social media, food, entertainment. But the more we escape stress, the stronger it grows. And the more we try to control everything outside, the more we lose control inside. Buddhist wisdom offers a different path. In the words of the Buddha, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. That's why monks don't train in perfect silence or comfort. They meditate through discomfort. They sit with cold, hunger, boredom, even fear, not to suffer, but to understand it, to rise above it. Because here's the truth, stress isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you what triggers you, what you cling to, what you fear to face. Modern science agrees. Studies show that how we perceive stress is more powerful than the stress itself. Shift your mindset, and you can transform anxiety into focus, pressure into purpose. This matters because the world won't slow down. But you can become stronger, calmer, wiser, starting today. And it all begins with a single shift, changing how you see stress into how you grow from it. Lesson 1, stress is a signal, not a sentence. Most of us treat stress like a life sentence. We feel it and immediately think something's wrong with us. Our chest tightens, thoughts spiral, and we tell ourselves, "I can't handle this." But stress is not always the enemy. Sometimes it's the very message we need to hear. In Buddhist philosophy, every experience is a teacher, even suffering, especially suffering. The Buddha taught that life includes dukkha, discomfort, unease, dissatisfaction. But he didn't say this to scare us. He said it to wake us up, because only when we become aware of suffering can we begin to understand it and rise above it. Stress is one form of dukkha, but it's also a signal. It's your mind and body's way of saying, something is out of balance. Pay attention. Imagine your body like a car. When the engine light turns on, you don't scream at the car, you check what's wrong. Stress is your internal engine light. The problem is, most people don't see it that way. We see stress as a sign of failure. We try to suppress it, escape it, numb it. But what if, like a monk watching his breath during a storm, we listen to it instead? A monk once shared his experience of meditating while cold, hungry, and exhausted. When asked how he managed it, he said, "I made friends with discomfort. I let it teach me instead of fight it." That's what we must do with stress, make it our teacher. Science now confirms what ancient wisdom has known for centuries. Research shows that stress is only harmful when we believe it is. If we see it as a challenge, as a signal to grow, it can actually make us stronger, more resilient, even happier. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, stop. Don't say, "Why me?" Say, "What is this teaching me?" Is it telling you to slow down, to say no, to rest, to speak your truth? Stress is not a sentence. It's a signal. And when you learn to read that signal, you turn suffering into self-discovery. Lesson 2, change the frame, change the game. When stress strikes, what's the first thing that happens? Your thoughts take over, and your mind starts framing the situation as a problem. This is too much. I can't do this. Everything is falling apart. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if stress was simply a change in the frame through which you're seeing the situation? What if changing your perspective could completely shift how you experience stress? Buddhism teaches that our perception shapes our reality. The way we look at life, especially stressful situations, can make all the difference between feeling defeated or empowered. This is called the frame of your experience. Imagine you're running a race. The finish line is in sight, but your legs are sore, your body is tired, and you feel like giving up. Now think of the race in 2 different frames. Frame 1. This is so hard. I'm exhausted. I can't keep going. This frame makes you feel defeated, drained, and overwhelmed. Frame 2. Every step brings me closer to the finish. This challenge is making me stronger. I can do this. This frame transforms the same situation into an opportunity for growth. You feel energized, focused, and ready to push through. The situation didn't change, but your frame of reference did. The way you see the challenge determines your response. This is the secret power of changing the frame. In modern psychology, there's something called cognitive reframing. It's the process of changing the way you think about a situation. Studies have shown that when people practice reframing, they experience lower levels of anxiety, greater emotional control, and even improved physical health. The more positive and empowering the frame, the more you reclaim control over your emotions and stress. Buddha said, "We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think." If we think of stress as a threat, it will overwhelm us. But if we reframe stress as an opportunity to grow, it will empower us. Think of a difficult conversation at work or a confrontation with a friend. If you frame it as a battle, you will enter with defensiveness, tension, and anxiety. But if you reframe it as a chance to listen, learn, and strengthen the relationship, the entire experience becomes an opportunity for connection. So next time you feel stress creeping in, take a moment to pause and change the frame. Ask yourself, how can I view this differently? Can you see it as an opportunity to learn, to improve, to grow stronger? Remember, the frame is not the reality. It's the way you choose to experience it. And with a simple shift in perspective, you can change the game entirely. Lesson 3, the power of non-resistance. We live in a world where we're taught to fight through everything, fight stress, fight emotions, fight people, fight the moment. But Buddhism offers a radically different and far more powerful idea, non-resistance. What if instead of fighting stress, you flowed with it? You observed it? You allowed it to teach you? Let's be clear, non-resistance doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you do nothing or let people walk all over you. It means that instead of tightening up and reacting with fear or anger, you respond with presence and acceptance. You stop resisting what already is, and you start working with it. Think about this. If a wave is coming toward you, you have 2 choices. You can brace against it, fight it, and probably get knocked down. Or you can dive into it, flow with it, and let it carry you. The Buddha taught that suffering doesn't come from pain. It comes from our resistance to pain. He said pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. In other words, life will bring discomfort, challenges, and stress, but it's our mental resistance, our inner "this should not be happening" voice, that turns stress into suffering. Here's a simple real-life example. Imagine it's pouring rain and you're stuck outside without an umbrella. You're soaked, cold, and frustrated. If you resist, complain, get angry, curse the weather, you suffer more. But if you surrender to the moment, accept the rain as it is, something strange happens. The stress begins to dissolve. You start to feel calm, even free. This is the power of non-resistance. Modern psychology supports this too. Acceptance and commitment. Therapy, ACT, a powerful modern technique, is built on the idea that resisting emotions only makes them stronger. But accepting emotions without judgment allows them to pass more quickly, reducing anxiety and helping you make better decisions. This is exactly what Buddhism has taught for thousands of years. There's a Zen story about a master who was slapped by a soldier during war. Instead of reacting with anger or fear, the master looked into his eyes with calm and compassion. The soldier was shaken, not by retaliation, but by the absence of resistance. That moment changed his life. This is the deep strength that comes from surrender, not weakness, but a quiet, unshakable power. Try this. The next time you feel stress rising, pause. Breathe. Don't resist it. Don't label it as bad or wrong. Just feel it. Observe it like a curious monk. Let it move through you without gripping onto it. Often, it will pass on its own. You'll notice your body relax, your mind soften, and a new space open up inside you. In that space is freedom. Non-resistance doesn't mean passive living. It means active peace. It's choosing to walk through storms with open eyes and a steady heart, instead of closing your fists and fighting shadows. Stress isn't always the enemy. Sometimes resistance is. And when you let go of that resistance, you unlock the power to move through life with grace. Lesson 4. Turn stress into compassion. Stress often makes us self-focused. When we're overwhelmed, anxious, or burned out, our vision narrows. We start thinking, why is this happening to me? Why can't people understand? Why is everything so hard? But what if stress could do the exact opposite? What if it could open your heart? Buddhism teaches that pain and struggle are universal. The moment you realize this, something powerful happens. Your stress becomes a bridge, not a wall. Instead of isolating yourself in your own problems, you begin to recognize that everyone is going through something. Everyone has their invisible battles. This understanding transforms your stress into something much greater. Compassion. There's a Buddhist practice called Tonglen, which literally means giving and taking. In this meditation, when you breathe in, you imagine taking in the pain and stress of others. And when you breathe out, you offer them comfort, peace, or healing. It might sound strange at first. Why would you breathe in other people's pain? But this practice is not about absorbing suffering. It's about opening your heart. You start to see that your own stress connects you to others, instead of separating you. Imagine you're dealing with a difficult boss or a frustrating coworker. Normally, stress would make you tighten up, get angry, or silently judge. But through the lens of compassion, you might ask, what is this person going through that I can't see? Maybe they're under pressure. Maybe they're carrying stress just like you. This shift doesn't excuse bad behavior. It expands your perspective. You go from reacting to understanding. And that's where peace begins. Even in moments of deep personal struggle, you can use your experience to help others. Many of the world's most compassionate leaders, spiritual teachers, counselors, healers, have walked through their own stress and turned it into service. Their suffering became their superpower. You can do the same. The stress you're feeling today might be the very thing that gives you the strength to uplift someone tomorrow. Science backs this up too. Studies show that people who practice compassion regularly have lower stress levels, stronger immune systems, and longer life expectancy. Why? Because compassion releases feel-good chemicals like oxytocin, which reduce cortisol, the stress hormone. In other words, when you help others, you help yourself too. Buddha said, Our sorrows and wounds are healed only when we touch them with compassion. That includes your own stress. Don't run from it. Don't suppress it. Instead, turn toward it and let it open your heart. Ask yourself, how can this experience help me understand others better? The next time you feel tension, overwhelm, or anxiety, pause, take a deep breath, and silently say, "May all beings who feel this way find peace." That small act of compassion can change everything. Because in the end, stress doesn't just have to harden you, it can soften you. It can make you more human, more aware, more kind. That is the quiet, transformative power of turning stress into compassion. Lesson 5, breathe, the bridge between chaos and calm. In the middle of a stressful moment, when your heart is racing, your mind is spinning, and your chest feels tight, what's the one thing that's always with you? Your breath. It's so simple, so quiet, we forget it's even there. But in Buddhism, the breath is more than just a biological function. It's a sacred tool, a bridge between chaos and calm. The Buddha taught that awareness of breath is the doorway to mindfulness. In Pali, this is called anapanasati, the practice of breathing in and breathing out with full attention. It sounds simple, and it is, but don't mistake simplicity for weakness. The breath is incredibly powerful. Why? Because it brings you into the present moment where stress cannot survive. Let's break this down. Stress often lives in the future. What if this happens? Or it clings to the past? Why did that happen? But your breath, it only exists right now. So when you bring your focus to your inhale and exhale, you are grounding yourself in what is, not what could be or what was. This immediately reduces mental noise and emotional turbulence. Think about this. The breath is the only part of your autonomic nervous system you can control. You can't will your heart to slow down or your digestion to improve, but you can control your breathing. And when you do, your body follows. Scientific research confirms that slow, deep breathing lowers cortisol levels, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode, and helps regulate emotions. In fact, just 6 deep breaths can reduce anxiety significantly. There's a Zen saying, when you own your breath, nobody can steal your peace. That's not just poetic, it's practical. Have you ever noticed how your breath changes when you're stressed? It becomes shallow, fast, uneven. That's your body's fight or flight response. But here's the magic. When you consciously slow your breath, you send a message back to your brain, I am safe, I am grounded, and your brain listens. Buddhist monks often begin their day with breath meditation. They sit quietly, focusing only on each inhale and exhale, not trying to control the breath, just observing it. This trains the mind to stay calm, focused, and awake, even in chaos. You don't need to be a monk to do this. You can try right now. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale slowly for 6. Do this a few times. Feel the shift? That's the power of your breath. Here's a practical tip. Whenever you feel stress creeping in, before a big meeting, during an argument, or while stuck in traffic, pause and do what's called a mindful breath reset. Just take 3 deep, conscious breaths. Focus only on the air entering your nose, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body. This creates a moment of space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies your freedom. Breathe through the discomfort. Breathe through the fear. Breathe through the unknown. This is not running away from stress. It's facing it with a calm, steady presence. Your breath doesn't judge. It doesn't react. It just flows. And when you breathe mindfully, you begin to embody that same peaceful flow. Buddha once said, just as a mighty rock remains unmoved by the wind, so too does the wise remain unmoved by praise or blame. How do we become that rock? It starts with the breath. Every inhale is a return. Every exhale is a letting go. So the next time life feels overwhelming, don't underestimate the simple power of one deep breath. It could be the difference between a breakdown and a breakthrough, between reacting blindly and responding wisely, between getting lost in stress and finding your center again. Because sometimes the most profound transformation doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, from sitting still, from breathing, and from realizing that peace was never far. It was always within you, hiding quietly in every breath you take. Lesson 6, impermanence. This too shall pass. Imagine this. You're stuck in a painful situation, maybe a heartbreak, a financial setback, or an overwhelming period of stress. In that moment, it feels like the pain will last forever. It consumes your thoughts, weighs on your chest, and makes the future feel impossible. But here's the truth that Buddhism teaches again and again. Nothing lasts forever. This is the principle of impermanence, or anicca in Pali. It's one of the core teachings of the Buddha. Everything, your emotions, your thoughts, your successes, your failures, even your identity, is constantly changing. Life is in a state of flow, not fixity. And when we deeply understand this, we unlock a powerful tool for transforming stress and suffering into wisdom and peace. Think of a thunderstorm. It rolls in suddenly with dark clouds and heavy rain. It might feel endless in the moment, but eventually the clouds part, the sun returns, and the sky clears. Emotions are the same. They rise, they peak, and they pass. Stress, no matter how intense, follows this natural law. The only reason it often feels permanent is because we cling to it, we identify with it, we feed it with our thoughts, we resist it. The Buddha said, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. This isn't just philosophy, it's freedom. When you're overwhelmed with stress, repeat to yourself, "This too shall pass." It's not just a comforting phrase, it's a fundamental truth. Modern science supports this too. Studies in psychology show that when people practice mindfulness of impermanence, they recover from stressful experiences faster. Their brains become less reactive and they develop greater emotional resilience. Why? Because they stop believing that their current emotion is their permanent reality. They recognize it as a temporary wave, not the entire ocean. Here's a story from Buddhist tradition that beautifully illustrates this point. A young man approached the Buddha, full of despair. He had lost everything: his job, his home, his family. "Please," he said, "give me something to hold on to. Something that will bring me peace." The Buddha gave him a small ring and whispered, "Engrave this phrase inside. This too shall pass." The man did as instructed. At first, it brought him comfort during hard times, but later he noticed something strange. It also brought him clarity during good times. When he was proud, elated, or deeply joyful, he would glance at the ring and remember, "This too shall pass." This didn't ruin his happiness. It made him cherish it more deeply, knowing how precious and fleeting it was. That's the hidden gift of impermanence. It softens our pain and deepens our joy. It reminds us not to take anything, good or bad, for granted. Stress loses its grip when we stop giving it permanence. Joy becomes more vibrant when we know it won't last forever. You might ask, but how do I apply this when I'm in the middle of intense stress? Here's a simple practice. When stress arises, sit quietly and bring awareness to your breath. Name the emotion you're feeling: anxiety, anger, sadness. Then gently whisper to yourself, "This is just a passing cloud. It is not who I am. It is not permanent." Visualize it floating by, like leaves on a stream or clouds in the sky. Each one appears, drifts, and disappears. This isn't denial, it's perspective. Impermanence doesn't mean we don't care about things. It means we don't become trapped by them. We love more freely. We let go more gracefully. We live more fully. That's the beauty of embracing impermanence. It turns stress into insight, resistance into flow, and suffering into softness. And here's something profound. Impermanence doesn't just apply to emotions, it also applies to you. Who you were yesterday is not who you are today. The stressed version of you is not your final form. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are becoming. Just like a tree that sheds its leaves in autumn, you too can release what no longer serves you and trust that a new season will come. So the next time you're caught in a storm of stress, remember the words of the Buddha and gently remind yourself, this too shall pass. Because in the impermanence of all things lies the key to unshakable peace. Lesson 7. Stress strengthens you if you let it. Let's face it, stress feels like the enemy. It makes your heart race, your mind spiral, and your energy crash. We try to avoid it, fight it, and escape it. But what if we've been looking at stress the wrong way all along? What if, instead of being something to run from, stress was actually a hidden source of strength? Buddhism teaches that every obstacle is a mirror, showing us what we need to grow. In fact, the Sanskrit word for crisis, dukkha, doesn't just mean pain, it also implies a spiritual doorway. The Buddha never promised a life without suffering. He taught how to transform suffering into awakening. Here's a powerful image. Think of the lotus flower. It grows in muddy, murky waters. The thicker the mud, the more vibrant the lotus. In the same way, our stress, when understood and embraced, can become the soil in which our strength blossoms. Modern science echoes this. There's a growing body of research on what's called post-traumatic growth, a phenomenon where people emerge from high stress with greater resilience, deeper purpose, and more meaningful lives. The key isn't the absence of stress, it's the relationship we have with it. Stress, at its core, is a signal that something matters. It shows up when we care about our goals, our relationships, our responsibilities. Instead of seeing it as a breakdown, we can learn to see it as a wake-up call. Just like muscles grow when challenged at the gym, your inner strength grows when life pushes against you. But here's the turning point. Growth only happens if you let it. If you meet stress with resistance, you only get more tension. But if you meet it with awareness and curiosity, you unlock the lessons it's trying to teach. A Zen monk once said, "The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way." That's the mindset shift we need. You can run from stress, or you can train with it. Like a warrior preparing for the battle of life. Take a moment and reflect. When have you grown the most in your life? Was it during calm, easy times? Probably not. The truth is, we build resilience by facing the fire, not avoiding it. Here's a practical approach inspired by Buddhist mindfulness and modern cognitive science. It's called stress alchemy. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, follow these 3 steps. Pause, take 1 deep breath. Become aware of your body, your breath, your heartbeat. Don't react, just notice. Label. Name the stress. I'm feeling pressure because I care about this deadline. I'm anxious because I want to do well. By naming it, you separate yourself from it. Reframe. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Maybe it's showing you the need to set boundaries, or develop discipline, or reconnect with your values. In this process, you go from victim to student, from resistance to growth. You don't just get through stress, you grow through it. Let's take the story of Milarepa, a Tibetan yogi who lived in solitude, meditating in caves for years. He endured hunger, harsh weather, and deep loneliness. But he didn't see these challenges as suffering. He saw them as fuel. He said, "My suffering has become my teacher. My pain has turned into power." This is the ultimate lesson. Stress is your training ground. It's not the enemy. It's the gym where your soul becomes stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Each stressful situation is a test, and also a gift if you're willing to accept it. Even physical stress can be a tool. Buddhist walking meditation, for example, involves long, mindful treks where your legs ache and your mind resists. But through it, you learn to walk through discomfort instead of around it. You learn that you're stronger than your suffering, and there's a deeper benefit too. When you allow stress to shape you, you become an anchor for others. You become the calm in their storm. Your strength becomes a light that helps others navigate their own pain. That's the path of the Bodhisattva, not just to end your own suffering, but to turn your transformation into service. So the next time life feels too heavy, pause and whisper to yourself, "This is my training." Let stress shape you, not shatter you. Let it wake up the part of you that is calm, strong, and unbreakable. Because remember, diamonds aren't made in comfort. They're made under pressure. Lesson 8, meditation, your inner laboratory. In a world full of chaos, endless notifications, and constant noise, where do you go to find peace? Most people search outside themselves. A vacation, a distraction, a moment of escape. But Buddhism teaches something radically different. The answer is within you. And the key to unlocking that answer is meditation. Meditation is not about sitting silently with a blank mind. It's about becoming deeply aware. It's about stepping into the laboratory of your own mind and observing the inner mechanics of stress, emotions, and thought. It's where you get to study yourself, not to judge, but to understand. The Buddha called meditation bhavana, which means mental cultivation. Just like a farmer cultivates crops by caring for the soil, watering the plants, and pulling out weeds, meditation is how we cultivate clarity, calm, and inner strength. It's where we plant seeds of wisdom and pull out the weeds of reactivity. Think of your mind like a glass of muddy water. If you keep stirring it, running, reacting, overthinking, the water stays cloudy. But if you let it sit, the mud begins to settle. The water becomes clear. That's what meditation does. It allows the noise to settle so you can see things clearly. Your stress, your emotions, your patterns. And here's what's powerful. The moment you observe something in your mind, you stop being controlled by it. You become the watcher, not the victim. Take stress, for example. Most people feel it and instantly react. Anger, frustration, anxiety. But in meditation, when stress arises, you learn to simply observe. Stress is here. You breathe, you sit with it, and slowly you discover something shocking. You are not your stress. It's just a temporary visitor. One Zen teaching says, let your thoughts come and go. Just don't serve them tea. That's the heart of meditation. You don't have to engage with every stressful thought. You can let it pass like a cloud in the sky. Science backs this up. Studies from Harvard and Stanford show that regular meditation actually changes the structure of the brain. It shrinks the amygdala, the stress center, and strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for focus, decision-making, and calm. In short, you become less reactive and more resilient, and you don't need hours to experience the benefits. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day can begin rewiring your brain. The key is consistency. Here's a simple practice to get started. Find a quiet space. Sit comfortably with your back straight, not stiff but alert. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Just notice the inhale and the exhale. Your mind will wander, and that's okay. When it does, gently bring it back to the breath. No judgment, just awareness. That's it. No need to control the breath. No need to stop your thoughts. The practice is not in being perfect, it's in coming back again and again. Over time, you'll notice something beautiful. The space between stress and reaction will grow. You'll begin to pause, reflect, and respond, rather than explode, suppress, or run. One of the Buddha's core teachings was that freedom comes from awareness, and meditation is the tool to cultivate that awareness. It doesn't make stress disappear, but it changes your relationship to it. You stop being dragged by the waves, and instead, you become the calm beneath the surface. And there's another gift. As your mind becomes quieter, you begin to hear something deeper, your intuition, your inner wisdom, the voice that's always been there, beneath the noise. This is the voice that helps you make better decisions, love more deeply, and live more fully. You also begin to experience what's called non-duality. That's the awareness that you are not separate from the world, that everything, your breath, the wind, the trees, the people around you, is connected. From this place, compassion arises naturally. You stop seeing others as problems and instead see them as fellow travelers on this messy, beautiful journey of life. Here's a story to reflect on. A young monk once asked his teacher, "Master, what is enlightenment?" The master replied, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The monk looked confused. "But everyone does that." The master smiled. "No, they don't. When they eat, their minds are elsewhere. When they sleep, their minds are restless. Meditation teaches you how to be truly present. That's the real power of meditation. It brings you home, back to yourself, back to this moment, back to the place where stress no longer rules you, but teaches you. So don't wait for the perfect time or perfect mood. Start now, one breath, one moment, one step closer to the peaceful, powerful you that's already inside, waiting to be uncovered. Most people think that stress is always harmful, right? Well, here's something surprising. There's a type of stress called eustress, which can actually boost your performance and brain power. It's stress that motivates you to take action and grow. Pretty cool, right? Here's a quick challenge for you. The next time you feel stressed, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Then take 3 deep breaths and reframe the situation. Do this for 7 days and see how it changes your mindset. Are you up for it? Now think about this. Have you ever gone through a stressful situation that turned out to be a blessing? I'd love to hear your story. Share it in the comments. You never know, your experience could inspire someone who's going through a similar challenge. Here's a powerful insight. You don't have to get rid of stress to find peace. The real shift happens when you simply understand it. When you stop fearing stress, it stops having control over you. That small shift can change everything. All right, time for a quick quiz. Which one of the 8 lessons today resonated with you the most? Was it 1. Stress is a signal. 2. Change the frame. 3. Non-resistance. 4. Compassion. 5. Breathe. 6. Impermanence. 7. Stress strengthens. Or 8. Meditation? Drop the number in the comments below and let's chat about it. Stress doesn't have to control you. By shifting your perspective, it can become your greatest teacher. Remember, each challenge is an opportunity waiting to be embraced. If you found value in today's lesson, hit that like button, subscribe for more wisdom, and turn on the bell so you never miss a new video. Share your thoughts or personal stories about stress in the comments. I love reading them and connecting with you. Want to dive deeper? Check out the next video here on Buddhism Pathways and keep transforming your life one step at a time.